It's fall on Lake Vermilion, and water temperatures on the Big Lake have dropped almost in half from a summer high of nearly 80 degrees. It's a recipe for great musky fishing, according to the boys at Pike Bay Lodge. The lodge, located just a few miles from Tower, Minnesota, boasting large, comfortable new cabins and a boathouse, is Adam's headquarters and our Explore Minnesota vacation destination of the week.
The profile for these vermilion muskies comes down to just a few key elements. The most important element is the forage base, and in this case the most prominent forage is ciscos and whitefish. Now we're just starting to see some whitefish nets being put out by local netters, so that kind of signifies the beginning of the fall spawning migrations. And those muskies will soon be following those ciscos and whitefish to the shallow spawning areas, but for now the water temperatures are just still a little too warm, so we're mainly keen on that offshore structure, the sunken islands and the rocky humps. The best humps have the steep sloping shorelines, and they're topping off at about 10 to 12 feet. Now the weather we're having is a little bit cold, and in turn that'll affect the anglers more than it'll actually affect the fish. So we're doing a lot of trolling, so we're covering a lot of water, putting our baits in front of a lot more fish, and we're staying comfortable doing so. Trolling runs, we're running some pretty big baits. Now these are 10-inch jakes, and we're running those on at least a 2-foot leader, and this is 90-pound nylon coated stranded wire. And all we're doing for mainline, I have 80-pound spider wire stealth, Fenwick musky rod, and a good high capacity spool reel. And with the lines we're running two on each, or one on each side, and one directly off the back of the boat. And we're just letting that out about 60 feet or so, 50 to 70 feet, anywhere in there. We'll get that bait down about 10 feet. And that's right where we want to be for these trolling runs. Engage the reel, throw her in the rod holder because it will wear you out trying to hang on to that rod all day. Now I'm using a graphite rod, and that's not quite as forgiving when you're trolling. When you're going about 4 miles an hour or so like we're doing, when that 50+ inch fish grabs on, that's a lot of force on that rod, and the graphite rods aren't quite as forgiving as the fiberglass rods, so I'm backing my drag way off, way looser than it'll be when I actually get a fish on. Then this reel has a little clicker system that's kind of nice. You don't have to be watching the rod all the time. You can be watching the graph. When you hear that going off, you know you either got the bottom or you got a fish. And that's all there is to it. And then we're just trolling about 3 to 4 miles an hour, keeping an eye on the graph, following those contours, going over those sunken highlands, and otherwise just following the steep sloping shorelines.
Good stuff.
Prime spot, little saddle in between. We got a point, we got an island, there's a saddle in between. Classic spot, perfect spot for there to be a fish.
Late season musky fishing on Lake Vermilion can be hot as the fish ready themselves for winter. As Adam and local guide Dave Schaefer concentrate their efforts on setting up trolling runs along the rocky shores, careful planning soon pays big dividends.
Go to the front of the boat, Adam.
Starting to roll.
Yep, yeah. Look at beauty. Oh, crap. Remember I told you? Baby!
Yeah!
Hey! Push the free spool on the reel. Always put the reel on the free spool. This is what we come for, guys. Makes it all worth it. Cold weather, snow, wind, doesn't count now.
At about 3 in the afternoon, while trolling an offshore rock hump in about 22 feet of water, the big one hits.
Here. We're talking big Lake Vermilion musky.
He's happy too, it's thick.
Much better.
53 1/4.
Huh?
Woohoo!
The fish is a once-in-a-lifetime for most. For Adam, it's the biggest freshwater fish he's boated all year. The fish measures out to nearly 54 inches, and after a quick photo or two, it's back in the water.
Congratulations, buddy.
It really didn't fight a whole lot on the initially, yeah, not until it got up to the boat, and then it started to roll a little bit. And didn't really run much, but did a couple rolls. Well, Dave, that was a horse of a fish we caught. 53.5-inch fish. Now in northern Minnesota up here, with this cold water, it's got a very short growing season, so a fish that big has to be at least 20 years old, probably closer to 25 years old. Now we didn't.
Sure it was 20.
Yeah, well we didn't get a girth measurement, unfortunately, but you did a little research and kind of did some estimates, some educated guesses, and so what did you come up with?
Well, you don't catch a lot of 53-inch muskies, and through our excitement, we just didn't get a girth. I'm going to guess the girth was somewhere around 24 to 26, which means that fish could have went anywhere from 38 pounds all the way to 45 pounds. A 26-inch girth, 53.5, is a 45-pound fish. And like I say, we got pretty excited. There was a little high-fiving going on.
Yep.
And it was a beast of a fish. No scars, no ugly sores on it. Just a beautiful specimen.